Good morning, everyone. What every moderator needs, a package of halls at the microphone. So thank you so much, Annie, and welcome to all of you for what I know is going to be a stimulating hour of conversation. A year ago, when I was at the University of Victoria moderating a panel on the future of employment in the tech sector, I had 3 panelists, all men and women in their early 40s, and I asked them how they got their start in this fast-changing digital world. What all 3 said was that the jobs they now have didn't exist when they graduated from university 2 decades ago. Which brings us to today's panel. How do we equip our children for a world more unpredictable than when we went to school? So our goal today is to highlight some of the innovations under the heading of I Want That, already helping students flourish in uncertain times. Yes, there are roadblocks, but the focus is on practical strategies that equip students to be independent, adaptable learners. I think the challenge is to spread the word on evidence-based practices. And as our session wraps up, I'm going to ask each of the panelists, and they are already forewarned, to pose a question that you can walk away with and go to your school and say, I want to begin and I want that discussion at your school. So, to our distinguished panelists, let me begin to my immediate right, Kelly Gallagher McKay. Kelly is an assistant professor of law and society at Wilfrid Laurier University and a former director of research for People for Education. Her research examines educational inequality and the importance of social issues in a strong public school. This year, she published 2 books. One of them is Pushing the Limits, How Schools Can Prepare Our Children Today for Challenges of Tomorrow, co-authored with Nancy Steinhauer, who I'll introduce in a moment. Their book is a great read. Apparently they're going to have it for sale at lunch today, full of practical possibilities that we're going to discuss today. And Kelly is also the mother of 2 children. To Kelly's right, Nancy Steinhauer. Nancy is an award-winning education leader with more than 20 years' experience at public and private schools. She's been a principal at top academic schools and diverse inner-city schools. During her 5-year tenure at George Webster Elementary School, one of the Toronto District School Board's first model schools for inner cities, she helped establish one of the first in-school pediatric clinics in the city. A former student achievement officer with the Ministry of Education, she and Kelly began collaborating, good word for today, 2 years ago to write Pushing the Limits, which was published this year. Last year, Nancy joined the Maven School, which is one of Canada's first Ashoka change-making schools. She's a parent of 1 child. To her right, Aaron Warner. Aaron has been teaching for 6 years and is that rare bird, a male elementary teacher. Yes, give him a hand. He's currently teaching at Wascana Public School in Regina, Saskatchewan. Aaron says he was only an average student in school and came to teaching late in his mid-20s. And perhaps that's why he's so interested in experiential learning that allows for authentic, hands-on student activities that gives them voice and choice in the classroom. What a novel idea. Tapping the interests and enthusiasm of students. One of his successful innovations that we're going to talk about is the Genius Hour, that gives students 2 hours a week to work on projects they really care about. Aaron is the father of 2 kids. Ingrid Palmer. Ingrid is a graduate of York University, a certified facilitator, a keynote speaker, and a mother of 3. Ingrid draws on her own lived experience as a Crown Board and someone who is legally blind to build awareness for effective communication between schools and home and for the value of community programs. Ingrid is co-chair of the Inner City Advisory Committee, a member of the Tenet's First Advisory Panel, a consultant for the Macaulay Child Development Centre. She's also active with the Toronto District School Board's Equity Task Force, Parents as Partners, and the Children's Aid Society. To her right, Aaron Prosper. We are fortunate to invite Aaron from the Mi'kmaq Eskasoni First Nation in Nova Scotia. He is a fourth-year student in neuroscience at Dalhousie University. He's a student researcher who's looking to bridge the gap between Western and Indigenous science. Aaron is a graduate of the Mi'kmaq-run school system in Nova Scotia that provides immersive native language education, and he has much to share with us on the value of that experience. At Dalhousie, he's the outgoing president of campus affairs for the Indigenous Students Collective and currently sits on the Dalhousie University Senate as the first and only, hopefully not the last, Indigenous student representative. He's also serving on a university task force to advise on diversity, inclusion, and access at Dalhousie. Outside of class, he sings with the Eastern Eagle Singers, a Mi'kmaq powwow drum group. I caught up with him last week on the phone when the group was performing in Newfoundland. Aaron aspires to be a doctor, and he's eager to promote equality for First Nations and Inuit patients in the Canadian healthcare system. So let's get started. What is the problem? We're going to talk about that briefly. What stands between us and the innovative schools we want to help students flourish? And I'm going to start first with a parent perspective.